All right, I am two students, part three, our last part of our final exam for Q4, distance learning. Today's assessment piece is 12 written response questions. It's Pear Deck style. I want you to show all your work as you go through this. So if you don't show your work, you don't get points. If for some reason you're not able to put all your work on the slides, or it's too frustrating for you, you may write down the questions on a piece of paper and you can send them to me. Take a scan of your work, or you can take pictures of it, as long as I can read the pictures of your work, and send them to me, and I will check your work that way. Okay, so you can do it in Pear Deck, or you may do it on an old school piece of paper and just scan or give the picture to me. All right, let's go over some of the problems and what I'm looking for. So first one is solve using the square root method. So yes, I want you to use the square root method to solve this. And I'd like you to include a check, right? Check your answer. Show me in detail, say check, so I can see what part you're doing the check. Maybe circle the part that's the check work versus your normal work, so I can kind of quickly see that. All right. Same thing for number two. Solve that square root method, kind of a next level. Then I give you a kind of vertex form here. Can you solve this using square root method? And then I gave you a little bit more complicated one. Can you handle this? Can you solve it using the square root method? Again, include your checks. Most of the checks, when the numbers are pretty integers, it's straightforward. If I give you any where the answers come out to be like a decimal number or some kind of odd fraction, still like you to check it. You can use the decimal number, do the math with the calculator. Just realize that it might come out real close and not precise if you use a decimal number because of rounding errors. Okay. All right, next section. I want you to solve by the factoring method. And number 5, I actually give it to you in factored form already. So it's already in factored form. Solve it. Okay. 6, you need to factor to the left side of the equation and then solve it. 7, you need to get this in standard form. Don't forget that it has to be in standard form, and then factor it and solve it. And number 8, a little bit harder factoring problem, but it's already in standard form for you. I want you to factor this and solve it. Okay, 9 and 10 are going to be the quadratic formula. Typically on a live class session, I make you memorize the quadratic formula, but this is the last thing we got, and you didn't have enough time to master this where you memorize the quadratic formula, so I'm giving it to you. So remember, it's x equals opposite b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you need to tell me what are your ABCs, and you got to show me the work, how you solve it using the quadratic formula. You can get down to an integer number, or it could be a decimal or a fraction. I'll take any format if it's a decimal or a fraction. I'll have both versions on my answer key. Okay, but again, showing all work. All right. Same thing with 10. Uh-oh, careful. Is that one ready for your ABCs? Don't think so. So you need to make sure it's ready for your ABCs. Put in standard form. All right, 11. Oh, remember these from like week 2, right? Solving absolute value equations. So we only have one method for solving it. So go back to your notes, and if you need them, and let's solve this. And then include a check for this as well. And then 12, a little bit more complicated one, but still an absolute value problem. Solve that. Give me the answer or answers, and include a check. That is it. Okay. The only other thing I'm going to ask from you is I will also be putting up end of course evaluation. It's going to be easy 300 effort points. The focus of the evaluation is going to really be on the Q4 distance learning program. I want to get your feedback on how this process worked for you, and I hope I don't have to do it again in the future, but if there's a chance I have to do this in the future, I'd like to learn from you, get some feedback from you. What can I do differently in the future to make it a better process? All right, so look for that and make sure you have that. One won't be due until early next week, we'll say. All right. Finish strong, and I look forward to reviewing your responses.